All right, man, peace. The Houston Rockets have taken the basketball world by storm this season. If you let many of the television NBA pundits tell you, they're definitely going to beat the Golden State Warriors. Now, are those pundits sincere about those prognostications, or are they truly just trying to build up a titanic matchup in the Western Conference between the Golden State Warriors and the Houston Rockets? Because for all intents and purposes, the Golden State Warriors have been such a juggernaut over the last 3 years that we're all just looking for them to have a run. We're just looking for a team that's going to give them some type of competition. Well, it seems as if a couple of pundits, that being Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith, have discovered an Achilles heel in the Rockets. And I believe that I also know what their Achilles heel is. So they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
Don't miss Friday. We got Cardinals superstar Tyrann Mathieu joining the show. Find out who he wants to replace Carson Palmer in the desert and if the Cards are the team to beat in the tough NFC West. Friday right here on First Take.
We just want to play well. We just want to play well and just have each other's back no matter what on both ends of the floor. It doesn't matter. Wins or losses will come. We still got a long way to go. And I think these games, especially these last 20 games or whatever we got, is going to help us. Every single game is going to be a different challenge that we got to face.
Yes, you better understand that, James Hardhead. All these games to end this current NBA regular season are going to be major for you guys to build up momentum going into the playoffs, because you're not good enough to take it light or take it easy in any of your games. You better understand that, especially you. I'm about to call you James Houdini Hardhead with the way you disappear.
Whoever gets that opportunity to impact the game and get on the floor is going to have to help that.
This nigga gonna get to the playoffs and pull a rabbit out of his beard.
Help that solution. So tonight was no different. Tomorrow's going to be the same way. Just go out there and play our style of basketball.
MVP frontrunner James Harden isn't getting a big head about his squad. The Rockets running through the league, winning their 50th game of the season and 16th straight overall.
He better not get a big head. The man hadn't done shit. Look, man, it's going to take a long time, a very long time, for him to make people forget how he disappeared in last season's playoff series against San Antonio in that last game. And just to put it in perspective, he had one game like that. LeBron James had a whole series like that in 2011 against the Dallas Mavericks, for those who love to promote this fictitious argument about LeBron being better than Michael Jordan.
Overall, taking down OKC last night. Let's take a look at the West standings now, though. Houston remains in the top spot with a half-game lead over the defending champs. But the good news for both those teams, Houston and Golden State, no other team is within 10 games of them for the top spot in the West. So, Max Kellerman, I ask you this.
Now look at that. If the season were to end right now, the Warriors will be playing the Thunder. That would be a very good first-round matchup. Very good. I wouldn't say it'd be a good one for the Warriors, though. I don't think they want to play the Thunder in the first round. I think they'd much rather play a team like the Timberwolves in the first round.
What is the Rockets' Achilles heel?
Before Max Kellerman answers, I'm going to answer. The Rockets' Achilles heel is their mental fragility. They still have not been proven in a pressure situation. Their two top players, Chris Paul and James Hardhead, have both been known to come up small in the playoffs in big spots. And their coach is not known for being able to make big adjustments in the playoffs. That coach being Mr. Mike D'Antoni. That is the difference between two high-level teams that have a very small difference between them, have a very slight disparity between them in the playoffs, is which team has a better coach and who can make better adjustments.
They don't really have one. I wouldn't say they have an Achilles heel. Could their bigs be a little better, I guess? Well, sure, you could always say a player could be better. Clint Capella's good. Nene's still useful.
Yeah, I think that they actually have very good bigs for their style of play. I already stated what their Achilles heel is. And until further notice, that is what their Achilles heel is going to be.
But they could be a little better. Could they use one more superstar the way Golden State has not only two MVP caliber players, but then two other perennial all-star players? Could they use at least another perennial all-star? Sure. Who?
I'm already on record as stating that the Klay Thompson versus Eric Gordon matchup is going to be very, very big. Klay Thompson is going to have to thoroughly outplay Eric Gordon. And there are going to be moments where Steph Curry is going to have to guard Eric Gordon. And he's going to have to be able to make it difficult for Eric Gordon, because I'm sure they're going to switch Klay out on Chris Paul. They're not going to have Steph guarding Chris Paul too much in that series. So that is going to provide a major matchup issue for the Golden State Warriors, because they like to hide Steph a lot on defense.
Who couldn't? But that's just saying the best or one of the two best could get even better. The Achilles heel, the biggest one the closest thing I could see is if their shots aren't falling. The pick and roll's not working and no one's hitting shots. In 4 out of 7 games, then maybe you can get them.
I don't think that is going to be that outlandish, Max Kellerman. When you get to the Western Conference Finals against the Golden State Warriors, it's not going to be difficult for them to maintain that level of defensive intensity the Golden State Warriors I'm talking about, as he's trying to act like it is. Many of these games are going to have a day or two in between them. They are going to bring that intensity every game. And Houston is going to have to show that they have some diversity in their offensive game plan. It's not just going to be that we have 2 shooters on either baseline. And expect a player like Ryan Anderson to be totally taken out of that series. He's not going to be of much use because he's not good defensively. He cannot create his own shot when the defender is on him on the 3-point line. I don't expect him to get much playing time. It's going to come down to the 4 players that are in the lower left-hand corner of the screen. Harden, Paul, Gordon, and Capella. They're going to have to ball out. They're going to have to absolutely ball out. As well as Trevor Ariza. Trevor Ariza is also going to be a major factor because he's a two-way player. I expect this series to go 7 should Golden State and the Rockets play. But would it shock me if Golden State beats them in 5? No, it wouldn't.
Maybe. And that goes for the Warriors, too. Maybe the Warriors could get them. But I see no real Achilles heel. Even the defense is a top 10 defense. Even Harden's defense.
Yeah, but you're talking about regular season stats, Mr. Kellerman. Yeah, they have a top 10 defense because they're playing the Orlando Magic twice a year, the Phoenix Suns 4 times a year, the Dallas Mavericks. We have to see them in big games in the playoffs.
Is better than average this year. I was saying it's average. If you dig into the numbers, it's better than average.
And I want to see how they look if they get down in a series to Golden State 2-0. Let's say they get home court and Golden State comes into Houston and wins the first 2 games in Houston. How do they come out in Game 3? Because we know that Harden is someone who gives up. He's a momentum player. He's not someone with a lot of integrity as a player. No disrespect to him. But he's not that guy who digs deep. He's the guy who gives up once he sees he's going to lose, or he feels he's going to lose. I would wonder if that would create any friction between him and Chris Paul, who's the type to lose his temper when he thinks he's going to lose.
I think an Achilles heel is the wrong way to put it. It's possible if they get icy cold at the wrong time, they could lose. That's possible for anyone.
I don't even see them getting particularly icy cold because I think that Chris Paul brings much more diversity to their offensive style of play. It's not just drive and kick. He actually can break his man down off the dribble, pull up in the mid-range.
This is the most annoying part about debating you. Because is the goal a championship, yes or no? The goal is a championship, which Max Kellerman has religiously stated. Well, what's the roadblock to the title? The roadblock to the title would happen to be the Warriors. It would happen to be your depth, whether or not you make shots in the postseason as opposed to the regular season. That would possibly be the Achilles heel. It's very, very simple. It's not complicated. And so what are we going to do here? Get a dictionary and define what the hell Achilles heel is?
I don't think that the Golden State Warriors could be counted as their Achilles heel, Stephen A. I don't think that you understand what the term Achilles heel means. Achilles heel is a potential weakness that you have within you. It's not an exterior weakness. So the Golden State Warriors would be considered more of a roadblock than an Achilles heel.
We're talking about what's going to be the roadblock to the title because Max Kellerman
Right, but roadblock and Achilles heel are not equivalencies, sir.
preaches about the importance of the chip. He don't give a damn. Max Kellerman's been on the record. He don't give a damn about fans. He's trying to win championship. And the hell with the fans. Tell them to go kick rocks. You don't matter. We're trying to win a championship. Well, if you're trying to win a championship, what's going to get in the way? I tell you what's going to get in the way. Exactly all the ifs you pointed to. That would be their Achilles heel.
Look at how many feminine gesticulations Stephen A. Smith makes. It's very obvious he came out of a female-dominated household.
You want me to get more specific? How about Ryan Anderson, Mbah Moute, Eric Gordon, Trevor Ariza, Clint Capella? These brothers can play. They're not scrubs. They're not scrubs. PJ Tucker, throw them in there. They're not scrubs. They can play. They got 5 different guys shooting 38% or better from three-point range. But it still is Achilles heel because I don't believe that when it counts, I can trust them against Golden State. I believe I can trust Harden. I don't give a damn what trouble Harden's had in the past. I just think he's that real. He is serious, and I think he will show up. I don't have any doubts about Chris Paul, who's never even played in the conference finals, and I still don't have a problem with Chris Paul. I believe that Chris Paul and James Harden will show up.
They better. Because if they play Golden State this year in the Western Conference Finals and they lose in 5, those 2 players will never hit the end of it. They're both going to take a very precipitous drop in their overall league-wide esteem.
I believe Golden State will dare someone else to beat them. And I got serious questions as to whether or not those other dudes on Houston can pull it off. That's their Achilles heel. The supporting cast of CP3 and James Harden, who I don't believe they can play. They can play, and I like them a lot. But when you talk about trusting them for a championship, I got questions about them, and those questions are the Achilles heel of the Houston Rockets. Not to mention Mike D'Antoni, because as great as he is, he's never coached in the finals either. And I'm wondering about them defensively as well.
I agree with that. You finally made a good point. Mike D'Antoni is a potential Achilles heel, or a portion of the Achilles heel with that team.
As well.
What an Achilles heel refers to is one glaring weakness that can undo you in spite of the fact that you're strong everywhere else.
Thank you, sir. I'm happy that you explained that to Stephen A. Smith because he does not seem to grasp the concept of an Achilles heel.
Now it's time for story time with Uncle Max, everybody. Stephen A., I'm reading my eldest daughter, Esther, The Hobbit, right now. And we are up to the part where Bilbo Baggins, the Hobbit, is confronting Smaug, the dragon. And what Bilbo notices is that Smaug he's covered basically in armor, the dragon, but he has one little square right by his heart that is not shielded by armor. That's an Achilles heel. I do not see a square by the heart of the Houston Rockets that you can take aim at. When you say, in fact, what you point to me is the opposite. You're saying the supporting cast. Well, if there was one guy they were relying on in the supporting cast, that dude might go cold and that's going to undo you. That's one thing. But you just named 5 or 6 dudes. And remember, the thing I said earlier in the show off the A block when we said, what do the Rockets do better than the Warriors? The Warriors shoot better than the Rockets because they have better shooters. The Rockets give the shooters higher percentage opportunities. So those are good shooters on the Rockets who become excellent shooters because of Harden and CP3's ability to break down a defense off the dribble and make good decisions with the ball and the threat that they pose themselves shooting the basket.
That's a very good point by Kellerman. I do agree with that both Harden and Paul, they bring a dynamic that really no other team in the NBA offers. When you look at the best backcourts in the NBA, the only other backcourt where you have 2 ball handlers on that level are Lillard and McCollum up there in Portland, and neither one of them pass on the level of Harden and Chris Paul.
Basketball. So what you're suggesting is that Anderson and Gordon and Ariza and everyone are all going to get cold for 4 out of 7 games? What are the odds of that? Those are low odds.
Yes, I don't think that they're going to get cold. That's why I don't think that they're particularly the biggest factors. I think the biggest factor is the potential mental fragility of Chris Paul and James Harden in the playoffs when the pressure hits, when that monster finally comes at you called Golden State, and it's not a regular season game. And they're defending you in a way that they did not defend you in the regular season. And you're left to say, wow, what do we do now? Our free-flowing offense is not as free and it's not flowing. Let's take a timeout. Let's ask Coach D'Antoni what to do. And D'Antoni's hand is shaking as he's drawing up some play on a clipboard, and it's the same play that they open the game with, and they say that play is not working, and he says, well, you guys just need to move the ball better. Then what? That's what you call the playoffs. That's the difference between championship teams and teams that go out in the conference finals. Great teams, they have that coach that when you go to the sideline, his hand is still, and he diagrams a play that creates a wide open player. He gets a layup. Next time down, they get a couple free throws. Next time down, they hit a wide open three, and then they're on their way. That's what a championship level coach can do. D'Antoni is not that. So they better not hit a moment of adversity where they have to count on him to make a key adjustment, because he's not going to be able to do it.
And Achilles, he'll be one dude. They're relying on that dude, and he's going to get cold.
And Achilles, you can sit there, and I like that analogy, and I appreciate that analogy as well, because I'm about to start reading that to my daughter myself. You didn't know that, so I get where you're coming from. I understand it. But here's the deal. But here's the deal, Max. There we go. 9. So here's the deal, Max. Here's the deal.
Mine too.
This is very important. This is very important. This is very important. No, she does not have a Coach Mackey. That's why you don't hear me talking about her that much, because I don't think about Coach Mackey. But the point that I'm trying to make to you,
what are you doing?
Nope.
Just get to the damn point, Negro.
Nope, not interested. Tennis would be a thing. But here's the point. I digress.
Oh, I
My
like
point
that.
to you is this, Max. My point to you
Oh, you want her to be like Serena Williams?
is this, Max.
Yep.
I have history on my side to validate it as an Achilles heel. Chris Paul wasn't there last year, but everybody else was.
Right, but it wasn't the other players who came up short, Stephen A. It was your boy James Harden. James Harden was the player who came up short. And I will almost give him a pass because he was by himself, and he foolishly decided that he was going to go for the MVP last season and play damn 40 minutes a game down the stretch of the season when D'Antoni wanted him to get more rest. He wanted to play hero ball, and it showed in the playoffs. When he got to San Antonio, he was too physically and mentally fatigued to show up. And then, for whatever reason, in Game 6, he just totally got deprogrammed, or who knows, maybe he just his microchip malfunctioned, or he's a Manchurian candidate and somebody called him and said, you're not going to play well tonight. Who the hell knows what happened to James Harden last year? All I know is that was one of the strangest things I've seen probably since Kobe Bryant in Game 7 against the Phoenix Suns in 2006.
Eric Gordon was in Houston. Trevor Ariza was in Houston.
And also Steph Curry's very strange performance against the Cleveland Cavaliers in Game 3 of the 2016 Finals. And then, of course, everybody can throw in LeBron's series against the Mavericks in 2011.
Clint Capella was in Houston. Ryan Anderson was in Houston. And when the San Antonio Spurs locked in on James Harden to the point where come Game 6, there is still an ongoing investigation as to that imposter James Harden sent out there to play for him in Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals. Because that wasn't him. That wasn't him. Because he was so exhausted, so spent.
No, that was him. That was him. He just may have been under a different altar. Who the hell knows?
That San Antonio said, we're going to wear him down. Could somebody else step up? There was no one there.
Even Nate.
Yeah, he was in the sunken place. That's the best thing you said so far talking about James Hardhead. When you called him, there was no one there. He was floating around in a sunken place.
So I can look at that and say, that's an Achilles heel.
James Harden in closeout games. Got it.
Stephen Naismith.
No, Molly, you
I
don't
must
have
say
it. Not by a
Naismith.
long shot, but that's a different story for another day. Go.
Stop picking on Molly. Molly's correct. James Harden in closeout games is terrible. There's other reasons that you should pick on Molly for chiming in when she's not really allowed to or shouldn't be allowed to chime in. On that one, she happened to be correct.
Go ahead, Max.
Stephen A. Here's the thing. I'll just leave it. Here's like, here we go with an alley-oop. This is me to you, and you're going to flush it from my point right now. When they key in on James Harden in this year's playoffs, what's going to happen? You brought it up. There's one thing that wasn't on the team last year. What's going to happen if they devote all the defensive CP3? It's all different now. You got two of them now.
No. But you need to in order to beat Golden State. One man won't do it. And someone else has to step up. And that is what I'm saying. Who's it going to be?
I agree. That's why, once again, please pay very close attention. Should they play in the playoffs, pay very close attention to that Eric Gordon matchup. Whoever's guarding him. There's going to be moments where they're going to try to hide Steph, and they're going to go through Eric Gordon to show the Golden State Warriors, no, we're not going to let you hide Steph. And then they may have to switch Clay over on Eric Gordon and put Steph on CP3, and then they're going to go through CP3 and make Steph stop one of those guys one-on-one, or at least tire him out on defense.
All right. We got to go, guys. Out of time.
And then they're going to probably run a lot of pick and roll through Steph also. The Houston Rockets are to try to switch him. They're really going to try to run Steph through the ground, into the ground in that series. It's going to be very interesting to see how both teams adjust to what the other team is doing.
Out of time here. Des Bryant.
But anyway, that's it on this segment. I am looking forward to a potential matchup in the Western Conference Finals between the Golden State Warriors and the Houston Rockets. I think it's going to be very good. It's going to be two teams that mirror each other. As I've stated in previous videos, I do have to acknowledge that I did not think that the Rockets were going to be this good. And to be quite honest with you, I wouldn't mind seeing them win a title. I would like to see CP3 win one before it gets too old. I just hope that the NBA Finals are good, because they're talking more about the potential Western Conference matchup between the Golden State Warriors and the Rockets than they are the finals. And I think that the only way that the finals are going to be competitive is if the Celtics get there, or the Raptors. But particularly the Celtics. But anyway, peace.